I've got one. Okay, here we go. Okay. Oh dear. Literally, J.K. Rowling has put a curse on me. This one is a brick. The next book I pulled out of my TBR jar. Hey guys, my name is Angus and today I'm going to be wrapping up everything that I read in July and doing my TBR for August. I can't believe it's already August. What the hell? So, I want to start off by saying I'm so sorry I haven't uploaded anything this month. It has been a very busy month and it's been a very full month. Like, my head is just all over the place, so I need a bit of time just to like recollect myself and get things together. But that being said, although it was a really not eventful month for my videos, I did read a lot this month, so we have a lot to talk about. But yeah, from now on I'm going to be publishing more stuff, I promise. I have like 4 videos already in the works, so they'll be coming at you very soon. So if you don't know, this year I've been attempting to read every single book on my bookshelf that I haven't already read. I've been drawing out 3 books a month from this little TBR jar thing, and then I put them onto my TBR and I attempt to read them each month. This is like my way of trying to work through all of my books. So as always, if you're just here to see me draw out my TBR from this jar and watch all the drama that unfolds with that, you can skip to this time code here to go and see that. Otherwise, I'm gonna wrap up everything I read this month right now quickly. So last month I read 9 books. I know this is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but there are 2 books that I don't have on me right now that I also read. 9 books, which is insane for me. I never read that much, but again, as I said, like I didn't make any videos, so that's probably why. Shit. So the first book I read last month was The Godmother, which is like a short little crime novel that's translated from French. So it's about this older woman who works as a translator for the French Ministry of Justice. She translates Arabic to French for them, and it's about her like getting involved with like drug dealing on the side while she's also like translating for like people who have been convicted for drug dealing. It's really, really interesting. I really enjoyed this read. If you at all like crime, I would highly recommend checking this out. It's a really short read and it's really quaint and funny. Like, I really enjoyed the narrator, so I would recommend that if you're at all interested in shorter crime novels. The next book I read was The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I went into this book not knowing anything, and boy, was I alarmed. This book came out in like 1993, I believe, and it was like an instant bestseller from this unknown debut author who signed with this huge agent for like $500,000 or something. She got a huge advance. It had such a big marketing campaign and pretty much is about a bunch of rich white kids at college who, yeah, I'll probably mute all of that because of spoilers, but a lot of shit goes down. I was quite blown away by this book. It really hooked me at the start, and towards the end, I started to like have this like paranoia when I was reading the book in public that people were like watching me. It's so weird. Like, I gave this book 4 stars, I think. I enjoyed it, but it's so dense. The next book I read this month is Looking for Alaska by John Green, and this book for me was passable. I read this because I drew it out of my TBR jar, and to be honest, it was exactly what I expected. Typical John Green, passable book. I really need to watch the show because apparently it's a lot better than the novel, but just nothing special here. Like, nothing at all. And the next book I also drew out of my TBR jar, and that was Stardust by Neil Gaiman. Once again, very passable for me. This is probably my least favorite Neil Gaiman book. It just feels like a modern fairy tale, and I just didn't really care about any of the characters or what happened, and it was very predictable. I need to watch the movie. When I pulled this out of my jar and I was like, oh, I haven't heard anything about this, you guys came at me in the comments about the movie because apparently there's a movie and I had no idea. Apparently it's on Netflix, so I need to watch that. The next book I read this month was Flames by Robbie Arnott. This is an Australian author. This was his debut novel. I just don't know how to describe this. I haven't read anything like this before. It's set in Tasmania in Australia, and I've been to Tasmania, so it was relatively familiar to me, but the story itself, each chapter is told from a different perspective and they all kind of weave together to form this one narrative. But to tell you what's going on in this book, there's just so much going on. Like this guy is like trying to build a coffin for his sister who isn't dying, but there's these spirits and one of them is his mother, and it's like a sand creature. It was a good read. I really enjoyed it. There's a cat. What is the cat doing? There's a cat eating my bamboo plant. Excuse me. The next book I read was Smart Ovens for Lonely People by Elizabeth Tan. This is a collection of short stories that are like so inherently related to an Australian experience. It's uncanny. Like, I feel like if you're not Australian, you won't fully get it. Like, I don't know, there's some things in here that are so specifically Australian that just are so funny. I really enjoyed this. I really love Elizabeth Tan's writing. It was like the perfect balance of like humor and insanity. I wasn't planning on reading this book this month, but I picked it up because I needed like a nice literary crime novel. I was just feeling it. So I picked up The Ruin by Dervla McTiernan. She is an Irish author, I believe. And this is the first book in a crime trilogy about Detective Cormac Riley. Detective Riley has just like moved to a new area and this is his first case, but it's like a dual case. A case from 20 years ago has been opened up when one of the people involved like dies under suspicious circumstances, but I loved this. The writing in this is insanely good, and I think it's one of my new favorites. I'm so excited to read the other two in this trilogy. Really well written. Next, okay, I was so excited to read this one this month. Mexican Gothic. Oh my god, my expectations were met. I know I said The Ruin is probably one of my favorite reads of this year, but Mexican Gothic is too. I really enjoyed this. This is like the perfect blend of like a retelling of like the classic Gothic story with like a haunted house. There were a lot of parallels between this and that movie, Crimson Peak. I kept like seeing parallels. If you at all like the horror genre, I would highly recommend this. It was like so icky but cool, and it just drew me in so fast. A very clever twist on the classic Gothic fairy tale. There are a bunch of trigger warnings for this one though, which I've outlined in my Goodreads review, so if you want to see that, I'll link it down in the description just to make sure you're all good to read this before you do. 5 stars, definitely on my favorite reads of the year, just you wait. So I know I said the last 2 books were on my favorite reads of the year, but this one is too. Slay by Brittany Morris. This was like, I think this is my favorite YA book I've read this year. It's so good, you guys. This is like if Ready Player One was 10 times better. Like it's, so I described it in my last video, but pretty much it's like this girl who is the developer behind this online RPG style, like Wakanda from Black Panther style world where you play as like Nubian personas and it's like VR and it's so cool. So it's about her and that, and some things that unfold. Pick it up. I think everyone would enjoy this book. If you like YA, I think you're gonna love this book. Oh, okay. That's everything I read. Whew. Last month. Let's get into my TBR for this month. As always, I'm gonna start with my TBR jar. I'm gonna draw out 3 books. I'm gonna chuck them on my TBR, and we're gonna pray to God that I get around to reading them. Because that's the deal. I've never done this before. I'm gonna close my eyes this time when I do it. Closing my eyes. Got one. Okay, here we go. Oh, okay. The first book I drew out of my TBR jar is The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness, which is good because I've been meaning to read this for ages. Patrick Ness is, I was gonna say he's one of my favorite authors, but I've only read one of his books. The Knife of Never Letting Go, the first book in the Chaos Walking trilogy, is excellent. I really need to read the rest of that series. Anyway, this is a contemporary novel, I believe, that deals with mental illness. I'm not too sure, but I've got this really pretty edition, hardback edition. It's yellow on the inside and the pages are blue. So I'm keen to read this one. Next, I'm gonna close my eyes again. Okay. Oh, one fell to the ground. I'm gonna use that one. It's a blue one this time. Okay. Oh dear. Oh my God. Whew, Jesus Christ. This one is a brick. The next book I pulled out of my TBR jar is The Final Empire, Mistborn Book 1 by Brandon Sanderson. It's gonna be a long read. It's like 700 pages, you guys. No whinging. This is a fantasy series. I don't really know anything about this series. We'll see, I guess. Something about eating metal and becoming superheroes. I don't know, okay? My last book from the TBR jar. I don't even know what this book is. So I pulled out Very Good Lives. Apparently I own this book. I don't... That title is not familiar. Let me see if I can find it. Maybe if I Google... Oh! I know what this book is. Literally, J.K. Rowling has put a curse on me, I swear. This happened last month. I drew out her little essay book, but it's a no from me. I'm not going to be reading that. I literally drew out a book last month. We had such a tough time last month. And now this? Let's try again. I can't believe that. I'm cursed. Okay. Oh. Okay. I drew out They Both Die at the End by Adam Silvera. This... I don't know. We'll try it out. We'll see how we go. There are some other books I want to read this month, which I'm going to go through now quickly. The first book is Girl, Woman, Other. This book won the Man Booker Prize last year. It shared the prize with Margaret Atwood's The Testaments, which is a bit fishy. This is the first time there's ever been a draw in the Man Booker Prize. This book has been picking up a lot of hype at the moment. I don't know why. It's just like ramped up, even though it's over a year old. Suddenly people are becoming interested. So I'm really interested to see what I think. I want to jump on this hype train. This book follows like 12 different people, mostly women, Black and British, I believe, and their lives, their family, their friends. I've only heard really good things about this, so interested to see how it goes. The next book I want to read is The Dictionary of Lost Words. This book has been selling so well at my bookstore. The synopsis sounds so intriguing. I'll just read it out for you. In 1901, the word bondmaid was discovered missing from the Oxford English Dictionary. This is the story of the girl who stole it. So pretty much it follows this girl who spends her childhood in the scriptorium, which is like this shed in Oxford, where her father and his colleagues are like working to make the world's first ever Oxford dictionary, and she steals a word and it just kind of goes from there. It sounds so intriguing. Apparently this is a book written for people who love reading, like that kind of book, kind of like The Starless Sea, in that kind of vibe. So I'm really excited to see what I think. So the next book, I didn't read one of the books that I drew out of my TBR jar. Wonderstruck. I just didn't get around to it, okay? I know I'm supposed to prioritize these ones, but it's a fucking brick. And anyway, I need to try and read this month because I was supposed to read it last month. We've got to get back on course. So yeah, I don't know anything about this one. It's been on my shelf for so long. And finally, the last book I want to read this month, All Boys Aren't Blue by George M. Johnson. This book has had so much hype on BookTube. It's a collection of essays, I believe. Yeah, from LGBTQIA activist George M. Johnson about growing up Black and queer in America. And I've only heard amazing things about this. So I'm so excited to jump on. It has such a beautiful cover. It's just pretty. Okay, and those are the books I'm gonna be reading this month. Well, some of them aren't here, obviously. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. As I said, I'm gonna be back on making videos normally, regularly, like I'm supposed to be. And I'll see you soon in another video. Bye.